It's Christina from Card Making Magic. This is the card we're going to make, and this is the magic slider card. And if you look at it, it's very plain on the front, but the magic appears when you slide the card out. So I'm going to show you how to make it, and this is a card that fascinates children. So the first thing we're going to do is make ourselves a template, and this piece of paper is a 30cm square, so it's quite a big sheet of paper. It's 12-inch square, and the first thing you're going to do is fold it in half. So the next thing you need to do is fold it into thirds. Okay, so there is your basic card. This is only paper, but you will obviously do it on card when you're ready to complete the whole thing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut along there and across there, and we're going to remove that part of the card. Now, because this part of the card is going to fold up into the centre, you may need to just trim a tiny little bit off each edge again. So once you've done that, just make sure that all these bits fold neatly together. So the next stage is to cut an aperture out of this centre panel, and all you're going to do is just measure in an equal distance from each side and the bottom. Leave a little bit more at the top, because from there we're going to cut a half circle, and then this is the bit that you're going to remove, and that bit. Once you've removed your aperture and you've used your punch to just punch out a half circle in the top of that card, this is what you'll be left with. This is your template, and if you keep that safe, you can transfer all that information to your good card the next time you want to make it. So I've chosen some paper from a large paper stack. I've chosen the colour that I want to use, and I'm going to just transfer all the information from that template onto that sheet, and once I've done that, that is what I will have left. And as long as you make sure that these all fold together, you've got the start of your card. Now, the card that I've chosen is all red, but because I want my inside panel to be white, I'm just adding an extra panel to the bit that folds in, and I'm just going to glue that in place with a little bit of wet glue. Now when it's all folded up, the inside of my card will be white. So we're going to start assembling the pocket parts of the card. So if you fold your centre bit in, whichever of these two panels you decide is going in, it needs to be glued just along the bottom. And if you use a wet glue, that will hold that in place so it won't fall apart. Now the other panel that's going on top, I'm going to just narrow it down a little bit. I'm going to use a border punch just to put a pattern along the outside edge. So if you start in the middle, you'll know that it's all married up properly. So what I've also done is cut a long strip of white, and that's just going to sit on the inside of the card. Now you can either marry them up to look like a shadow, or you can alternate them. You can decide on the depth that you want. But that's going to be glued in place along that strip. So once you've glued that in place, you're just going to trim off the excess bits, and then all you're going to do is just glue that panel down to the card. So that now has created a little pocket for you inside the card. Now once you've created your pocket, just pop it on one side, choose the stamp that you want to use, and you're going to stamp the image out twice. Once on acetate and once on the white card that you've used for the inside. Now what you need to do next is, this one is stamped in Stays On, but what I've done for this one is I've stamped it on heat resistant acetate using Versamark, and I've added some silver embossing powder, and the other image that's stamped on the white card I've coloured in. But again, they need to marry up perfectly, so if you just clip them in place for now, you know that you have that image how you want it, and you can stamp any stamp that you have to make your card. This is one that's been done with a little teddy bear. Now once you've got to this stage, you've got your stamped image coloured in, your pocket's ready. You need to make sure that this will fit inside this pocket, because this is where you can trim it down if you need to. So what I've done is I've trimmed it on each outside edge, but I've left a little ledge at the bottom. Now on the pocket part, you're going to make 2 holes, one on either side, and I'm going to add eyelets to these, but I'm not going to put them in place just yet because I'm not quite ready. Now you've done all the trimming, you've got the eyelet holes, you've trimmed the back of the card, you need to make sure it fits. So there is your pocket. Now if you pop the white piece of card to the back of that pocket and the acetate to the front and slide it down. Don't worry about the top of the card, we haven't finished that off yet, but you need to make sure that your card clears the 2 eyelet holes, because this is where you're going to pop those eyelets in, and that will stop the card being pulled out of the envelope. But let's tidy the top bit up first. So what we need to do is just make a little pencil mark on the back so that you know where to trim it. Take that out and trim both of those pieces level with each other. Keep it clipped together, and then you don't lose the pattern on the front. So the next thing you're going to do is cut yourself a circle, and you're going to put that circle, fold that circle in half. Now take your trimmed card and you're going to add that circle to the top of the 2 pieces, and then if you use your punch or your eyelet setter or whatever it is you do, you're going to add an eyelet to keep those 2 pieces fastened together. So once you've got these 2 fastened together, you can remove your clips and try and get yours in the middle, not off centre like mine. And now you can put it back into the pocket. You've got your 2 layers. Put the white card that's been coloured behind, put the acetate sheet in front of that centre pocket and slide it down. And now you can add the 2 eyelets on either side to hold the middle bit in place. Now once you've got these eyelets in place, that will stop anybody from pulling the card completely out of the envelope. And in the one at the top, you're just going to use some ribbon and thread it through, and that will now act as a pull for the recipient to just pull the card in and out. So every card needs a finishing touch, and these are the elements that I'm going to use on mine. This is a product called Nester Bling, and it's from Want to Scrap, and all I need is that piece there, because I'm going to cut this up so that it fits around the edges, opposite edges of the card. Then I've used poppies that will enhance the stamped image in the card. I've got some leaves, and I've also got a red and white bow that matches the pull at the top. So those are what I'm going to use to finish this card. So there we have the finished card. Just remember that any embellishments you put on the card need to be on the side frame and not on the acetate, otherwise you'll stop it from opening. So there's your pull, and if you slide the card out, it changes from the clear to the coloured. The stops stop it from coming all the way out, and then it disappears as you put the card back into the frame. So there you have your magic slider card.